That'll be fine today.
We got a win to talk about this week on Miami Hurricanes Live, and we also have a quarterback to talk about, I believe. Welcome into the show on a Wednesday night. We got Kim Underwood here. Of course, he makes it all go. You can join him and the rest of the crew there at State of the U, stateoftheu.com. Get on over to SB Nation, stateoftheu.com for your Miami football and athletics needs. In the meantime, leave those comments and questions there in the live chat. We will talk it up with Cam as we do each and every, again, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Bring some friends with you. Cam, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. So, good stuff to talk about. I mean, still room for growth and everything, but positivity. At least it seems like some, but we're not where we need to be, and are still along that growth path. And some players might be on that, and others might not, but we'll see.
Okay, so that said, and you've watched a lot of college football seasons, and forget college football, any sports season sometimes looks a heck of a lot different 80% through than what we all anticipated and talked about for months and months and months about what it was going to look like, not just in terms of wins and losses, but who was going to be involved. Mm-hmm. And who would have thought that a quarterback that was supposed to be kind of just getting his feel for the game, getting his reps in practice, being developed, is thrown into the fire in a conference game and doesn't turn the ball over, throws 3 touchdown passes, barely lets the ball hit the ground 13 of 16. That's about all you could expect of a first-time starter.
Yeah, man. So that's Jakari Brown. And again, it is Jakari. Pretend that the U in his name is an A. That is directly from the kid and from the University of Miami Athletic Department on the official rosters that's online, and they're given to us at every game. So it is Jakari, to be clear. But yeah, Jakari Brown, man, he's a kid from Valdosta Lowndes High School. He started for about 2.5 years in high school, threw for more than 3,000 yards, ran for more than 3,000 yards, which is, if you're talking about like 150, 160 rushing yards a game, great. But then you're like, shut up, Google, bro. What? Sorry. Anyways. But yeah, so you're thinking, okay, like 150, 160 yards rushing a game, great. But then we look at the numbers and say, okay, well, his passing yardage and rushing yardage in high school were about analogous. That means he's only throwing for 150, 60, 70 yards a game. So on 53% completion. So this is a very athletic dude. I've been talking about him before. He's 6'4", probably up in the 220s now, got these big shoulders. He has a cannon for an arm. He can launch it 2-3 country miles. He doesn't exactly know always where it's going right now. And that is where the growth path is going to start. Like everybody, even himself, said, hey, look, I know I'm coming in and I need to develop as a passer. Of course, bro, I told that person who texts me every week after we get started, every single week, bro, every week I come on, and then you hear that. That's the same person every single week, people, I'm telling you. Anyways, it reminds me when I was teaching, my mom would call me at like 9:30 in the morning, and I would plug her into the overhead in my room and be like, hi, like I'm teaching, like, hey, we're going to sing happy birthday or something. Like, come on. Anyways, Jakari Brown is a developmental player in terms of throwing the ball.
Luxury exemplified. Innovation electrified.
That's my bad.
With Apple Music seamless.
Oh, yeah, ESPN does that. That's why
even if you mute the video, they'll still pop it on 20 seconds later. Yeah, I can't trust them.
You know what? I'm going to put something in the me and you chat. And if you go there, you can get a version of the box score that you can that doesn't have any videos or anything.
You know where I usually go, but keep going.
Yeah, sorry. Anyways, Jakari played a really, really strong game. And that was basically what he did in high school, right? So he's making electric plays with his legs. I think so. He threw the ball 16 times. I think we called 21 passes, but he got sacked twice and he scrambled 3 or 4 times. So I think we called 22, maybe 23 pass plays. And at this point with him, I am fine with one, maybe two reads, go. Like, I will trust me at 6'4", 220 something pounds, maybe to make a guy miss and, get 6 yards instead of, being sacked for 10. I'm fine with that. And we did dial up a couple deep throws and he overthrew them. I would much rather that than underthrowing it or putting the ball directly in harm's way. You know what I mean? Like, there was one at the end of the third quarter, and I mentioned this because we had the wind in the third, and we're going to go against the wind in the fourth, and said, hey, if we're going to dial up a vertical shot, do it now while you have the wind. And they did dial one up. It was well covered. They didn't throw it. Which, again, I would rather you not just try to force the ball because you got a cannon for an arm. And then they did throw one in the fourth quarter into the wind. And he let that thing fly. I mean, it was overthrown by 20, 25 yards. So that play was not indicative of the passing accuracy that we want to see. But if you got an arm like that, hopefully we're able to train him up. And no, he's not on balance all the time. No, his arm motion isn't consistent. No, his footwork isn't consistent. No, he's not sitting there and reading the field 3 and 4 and 5 receivers to the check down. That's not him. But before the game, I said, if we can get 140 yards on like 54% completion or better with 60 or more yards rushing, that's money. And as you look, so 87 yards. Go back up to the passing yards for me real quick, Mark. So 87, that's more than 60, so that fit, right? And then when we get up to the passing yards, you'll see 136. And I literally tweeted 3 hours before the game, I said 140 or more, boom, we're good. And he did it on 74% completions. You can make an argument against some of the running decisions and things like that, where it was just like, okay, I'm just, it looked like high school. He's the best player on the field. Hike him the ball every play, put him at quarterback, and we'll see what happens. But man, it wasn't the best game he could possibly play. But in the construct of where we are as a program, where he is along his development, that's pretty perfect. And good job, Cam, because I was off by 4 yards on 4 yards. That was it. And again, you can go look up the tweet. I tweeted it hours before the game. I said 140 on more than 55% completions and 60 plus yards, and we're in a good place. And I like our chances. 136 yards with 3 touchdowns, no picks on 74% completions with 87 yards rushing, including sack yardage, which means he was probably at or over 100 yards. Bam. Come on. And he's just a gamer, bro. Like, you saw it at Valdosta Lounge, man. I mean, state championship game, you want every game to be 79-3, like Miami Central or Chaminade or Aquinas or something. But it wasn't that, because he's, I wouldn't say a flawed prospect, but he has his areas for growth. But that last drive, when they got pinned inside the 15 and Lowndes had to go the length of the field for a touchdown to win, made it happen. And his nickname in high school was the Heartbreak Kid, because these teams thought they were going to win, and then 11 would come out on the field and break their hearts. Literally. Go look it up. And I mean, that's what we saw from this kid. And he has the potential, if he's able to develop as a passer, to really, really be something special. He is raw material right now. But raw carbon underneath pressure becomes a diamond. And if we can develop him, and if he puts in the work, and he's been putting in the work, and everybody said that because, look, he even said, I thought I was going to be on scout team, so I'm on scout team to work. Cristobal, Gaddis, yeah, he was on scout team, but then he was playing the role better than a scout team player. So then we said, okay, we're going to give him some reps. We'll throw him a couple reps with the 3s. Okay. Well, we'll give him some reps with the 2s. Oh. Well, okay, we'll give him a couple reps against the 1s. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to build this package around this kid. And we're going to give him just a couple of plays, and then a couple more, and then a couple more. And he's always meeting the expectation. He's meeting the level of performance and continues to go forward. He's not perfect, and do not let perfect be the enemy of good. Do not let perfect be the enemy of the growth that we have seen from him. But if Jakari continues along this path for 2, 3, 4 years, he could really, really be something special.
I said 13 of 16. For some reason, that was in my head, but close. 14 of 19 on the day. And yeah, when I reviewed the game highlights and saw those numbers, I thought, wow, that's an impressive showing for a first-time starter with no experience.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, they probably bump the number up. They probably call 25-ish pass plays, including the sacks and the scrambles total. But I mean, yeah, you're going to be at 2-to-1 ratio. You're going to be around 50 running plays. It ends up on 6 carries, something like that. So yeah, about 2-to-1. If you're hitting the throws, then yeah. And then look, a lot of high school quarterbacks who are athletic, more athletic than they are skilled at throwing the ball, their high school highlights are 2 things: bubble screens and bombs. If you remember Torrance Gibson from American Heritage, he was not going to sit there and throw a 15-yard square in, but bubble screens and bombs was his entire highlight. Jakari hit a bunch of bubbles and overthrew a couple bombs. Once you hit those, and I'm not saying you got to hit all of them, you hit 2 of those, honestly, that's probably 2 more touchdowns, because the deep throws, if you scheme them up, you know what I mean? But on the running game, which was much better, the offensive line, and obviously we're playing an opponent that wasn't as good as previous opponents that we played, but still the offensive line did its job. Jalen Knighton running hard like he was at Deerfield. It literally looked like he was in high school again, which is a high compliment, because he was an incredible high school running back and didn't put the ball on the ground, which he had done consistently previously, right? But now he gets back on the field. He's doing the thing. We're hitting the short throws. We're hitting the bubbles. We're taking shots on the bombs. And then all else fails, 11, go make a play. That's not bad. It's not where we want to be 100%, but that's not bad.
On the other side of the ball, the star of the game, of course, was a guy that everybody already knows about as being a proven player, and that's Cam Kinchens with 3 picks.
Yeah, man. Good old Cam Kinchens. Shout out to Cam wearing the Underwood family number 24. So, name Cam wearing number 24. That was my basketball number, my whole entire family's basketball number, but whatever. But yeah, he, I was critical of him a couple of times earlier in the year. It wasn't mostly him, but it did happen twice where he kind of guessed a little bit, where he's trying to go make a hero play and not playing his responsibility. This time he played his responsibility and made plays by doing his job. You know what I mean? Like, the first interception is a one-on-one up the sideline with Tyreek Stevenson in good tight coverage, but you're playing too high, which means that you have 2 deep safeties. Cam is on his half of the field. Boom, open them hips, get to the corner, go to the sideline, makes that catch. Has another interception going the other way. So just like I was talking about Bubba Bolden at Louisville a few years ago, where he literally made tackles on either sideline within 2 plays. Now, it wasn't within 2 plays or 2 drives, but the first interception on the right corner, deep. The second one was left, maybe up a little. He had cut flat across, but had an interception on either sideline. And then at the end of the game, I saw somebody said it. That was very reminiscent of Maurice Sykes against Florida. I believe that was in the Sugar Bowl there, just jumping in front of that pass down on the goal line. Dan Morgan had one of those against Florida State, but he didn't take it back to 99. But yeah, Cam caught it in the middle of the field there and everything. Corey Couch did get beat to the inside, but he was trying to recover in some trail technique. He dove in a spot where he either could have broken it up or intercepted it had Cam not been there. But, you're got a center field guy there, and then he just stepped up, took it, and then started running. It was just like, I'm going to keep running. Oh, there's nobody behind me or in front of me. Like, green grass and opportunity. Let's go. Took it back at 99 for a touchdown, and just a really, really strong performance from him. I think he has 7 tackles also and another PBU. Just and a tackle for loss, by the way. So, I mean, like, behind the line, at the line, in the second level, third level, taking it the whole length of the field. Cam Kinchens was literally everywhere. It was really, really great to see. He graded out, I think, as the highest graded safety in the country last week. He was ACC Defensive Back of the Week. Just I can't talk highly enough about the job that Cam Kinchens did, because he even made some tackles in the, in the bubble screen game, or just coming down in support of, the levels in front of him on defense. But, anywhere in the world that Miami needed Cam Kinchens to be, he was there making impactful plays and just really being the superstar that a lot of people said he was going to be. I wrote it. A lot of people, even in that recruiting class with James Williams, said James Williams is the physical freak, but Cam Kinchens is the better safety. And I think that we're seeing that from him, even though James Williams is getting better. He's not the surest tackler now, but I mean, James Williams is still playing at a high level, but Cam Kinchens is playing at an absolute superstar level. I'm so glad that he's on this team, and he's playing really, really, really well.
To your point, Tony Kidd asking about the unfiltered opinion on James Williams' run defense or lack thereof.
He needs to be more physical at the point of the strike point or the contact point with whatever player is there. He loves playing safety, first of all. So this is a guy who name searches on Twitter when he was a recruit, people said, he's 6'5", 210 pounds as a sophomore. He's going to grow out of that. He's going to be outside backer, maybe even put his hand in the dirt and be a defensive end. And he would invariably search his name, quote tweet, retweet, depending on, the version of Twitter, and just say, no, I'm a safety. So he loves playing back there. Loves coming forward, using that physicality, because he's uncommonly sized. He's way bigger than most people at that position. But he's still in that optimist / high school, I'm just going to lean my shoulder in, hit stick kind of way, and not wrap his arms, bring his hips through, drive his feet. All of the standards that you need to have on a sure tackle are not always there with him. And for somebody that big, I expect that from you. You got to play to your size. If your size is the thing that differentiates you at that position, you have to use that size, right? So I really want to see that from him. I think that's the next step, because everything cannot be a hit stick hit. And even when you try a hit stick hit, where you're trying just to deliver as much force as possible, you don't always get the guy on the ground. So even your best efforts, if not done with proper technique, are still not yielding the result that you need. So I really want to see improvement in that with him. But he has a physicality to be there. And look, Miami is still bringing him down into the second level a lot, right? So they're playing him on the, the linebacker level, not the D-line, but I mean, shoot, they bring him down in a nickel / big backer or big safety spot. Look, you've even had Corey Couch playing at that spot at linebacker at 5'8", 145 pounds, right? Because you figure you're going to play some pass coverage and but you should not really be able to interchange the two, because the physicality is so different. But I really need James, as he continues to develop as a player, to really bring that physicality to the field, not just when he feels like it, but all the time. And that's the difference between good and great. And his inconsistency in bringing that physicality and being a sound tackler, those are the things that really need to develop to take him to the next level.
Falcon Rex super sticker. Appreciate you being here as always, man, and supporting. And also Falcon Rex here with betting all of my FTX points on the U over Clemson.
Okay, well, here I have an FTT coin also. Let me put that up for the screen for everybody to see the ring of nothing that I have there. So yeah. But to the previous comment, I don't know that Jakari is a better fit for the Gaddis offense, but we built the offense more intentionally, I think, around what he was able to do, because he is not able to do as much as Tyler. But I'm sure that Tyler Van Dyke is looking like, oh, where was this run game when I was quarterback? Because shoot, let me get those play action passes. Let me get that, running back with 19 for 118 and a score. Where was that? And because that helped Jakari Brown so much. And Jakari Brown also helped the run game because of his ability to run. But Jalen Knighton, like I said, he had almost 120 yards and touchdown. You ain't never or rarely seen that kind of performance from a lead running back with Van Dyke in there. So, but again, yes, Miami did play better, but also it was against a team that's not as good as other teams that Miami's played. So it's one of those things like, like they say on the Safari, I don't have to be faster than a lion. I got to be faster than you. We were faster than them, but that doesn't make us fast. Like if it was a cheetah instead of a lion, might be a different story. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
Well, we'll get a better feel for that this Saturday in Death
Boy.
Valley.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to go very well. Miami's a near 3 touchdown underdog, and it opened at 19. I haven't looked at it. So Clemson favored by 19. I haven't looked at it since then, but and this is frustrating because, again, going into the year, and I think they've gotten lucky, Clemson has in large part, but like they're very gettable. They're very much not juggernaut Clemson. They're a good team. Don't get me wrong. I know they only have one loss. They're fighting for a college football playoff berth. I know all of that. But name me the last year of a Clemson team that you think this year's Clemson team beats. Yeah, exactly.
2011.
But you're going back a decade. That's my point. All of the ones that people are thinking about recently, right? You're not taking this year's Clemson over any of those. And look, when Deshaun Watson was there, you're like, oh, even last year was great. I think this year. When Trevor Lawrence is there, you're like, hey, I know Deshaun Watson's teams, but like, it might even be a conversation. This year's Clemson team, every last one of those other Clemson teams you're taking, which again speaks to the excellence of Clemson, but also the fact that they're not that kind of excellent. And it's a little frustrating because clearly Miami is nowhere near where peak optimization for the program hopefully will be, not even probably where the immediate performance of the last couple of years was. So even with a more gettable Clemson than previous, which was just not even fathomable, you're really not in a position even to really challenge that. And, again, Jakari had 87 yards rushing. Rooster had 118. Team had 200 and something, Clemson's not going to let that happen. And Clemson's defensive line is going to be really – look, good on Lawrence Seymour for finally looking like a viable college lineman last week against Georgia Tech. What have I been saying about Georgia Tech? They're not that good. There's many, 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 many men, shout out to 50 Cent, many men on the Clemson defensive line who, boy, they're going to be a problem. KJ Henry's already won games. Brian Brzee, if he's back, he's there. Tyler Davis still there? Tyler Davis from Florida?
I think he's hurt.
Oh, okay. Well, he's on the roster, but he's probably not playing. But even without them, Miles Murphy went to Carolina. But there's so many dudes along that defensive line against a not great Miami offensive line. And they're going to bring guys from the second level and even third level to just fit gaps, get upfield, and disrupt the run game. And that is foundational to where Jakari Brown is and his proficiency at quarterback. If you're unable to run the ball, either with him, because he's going to be in there, you're going to run quarterback power. You're going to run inverted veer, right? You might give it on inverted veer, but you might, keep it. That's the one where, the running back goes horizontally across the face of the quarterback. You ride it and wait to see the zone gap. If the inside guys don't separate, then you give it to the running back. He goes around the edge. Or if the inside guys create space, you pull it. That's Cam Newton, right? I'm not saying that they're the same, but if you're thinking about, inverted veer, think Cam Newton in college when he would ride with that running back for a while and then all of a sudden pull it and get north and south because there was a hole. If you can't create that, we've already talked about the fact that Jakari Brown isn't a really great passer. Like, he underthrew that touchdown to Will Mallory. I mean, if we're being honest, he underthrew the ball that was the touchdown to Will Mallory, but he was butt naked wide open because he, faked that block, and then hit the wheel route. And okay, he threw it, he got it there, and there was a guy in his face, and it was that was a gamer play to even get that ball out of there. So I'm going to give credit to him because I don't think that Garcia gets that ball off. But he got the ball off, but it was thrown short. There was other balls that, weren't necessarily great that were thrown. But now, when every drive or every set of downs is 2nd and 9, 3rd and 7, that's not quarterback run area. Sometime you're going to have to throw that ball and hit those throws. Now, he had one, I think it was a dagger route. So a inside 9 with the outside square into a Restrepo. And he sat in the pocket, and I mean, his feet were there, weight transfer, arm angle, boom. And that was a beautiful throw. But that's the one. Can he do that again and again? And now, are you able to look that safety off? Because I know I can get the ball there, but if I'm staring it down, just like Cam, again, on the other side, Cam followed the eyes of the quarterback there, and that drew him to the ball. Are you able to look him off and then come back and fit that ball in? Are you able to do those things? And Clemson's going to make it such that he's going to have to throw that ball a lot and well. And can he get there? I think so. Right now in game 2 of starting, most likely. And Mario Cristobal said that he's not announcing a starting quarterback because the ACC does not require injury reports anymore after, I think it was like 6 years ago. And competitive advantage. Like, why would I tell Clemson who's starting? Let them figure it out. But you're probably going to start him there. Can he get there? Yes. Is he there now? No. But this game I think is going to be, even with Clemson not being great, even with it being Will Shipley and the Pips on offense, even with one read DJ Uyunglele not being good. But if he hits those throws, and he's hitting more throws than he hit last year, he runs fairly well, and he's a big dude. I just think that, it's going to be a rough one in Clemson, South Carolina on Saturday afternoon.
Just to clean up the situation along the Clemson defensive line, Tyler Davis, healthy, playing. Brian Bresee, who had missed some time because of health issues and his sister's condition earlier in the season, healthy, playing. It's Xavier Thomas, yes, who is out for the season along the Clemson defensive line. But they are loaded.
Loaded.
And, Mike Rotunda and others. Yes, Clemson is a good football team. Yes, we're saying Clemson is a good football team. They are not Clemson good. I think.
Right. Yeah.
What
they're good. I mean, they've won a couple games that they probably shouldn't have, but even then, they'd be 7-3 right now. 7-3 is good. Good. They're not Clemson. They're not peak Clemson. They're not Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence, all of the wide receivers in the league, and they're not that monster juggernaut this year. But they're a good team.
Absolutely. I don't even think what you're saying is that debatable. It's not even, they're one of the teams in the nation that you can really see based on what we know from the past and based on what we've seen currently. That's a pretty foundational read. They're not what they typically are, top 3 team in the country, but they're a clearly top 10 to 15 team in the country.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, again, that's still good. I would, want Miami to be there. But in terms of, continuing this program year and year and year and year, where, to Mark's point, they've been clearly a top 3 team in the past. They're a top 15-ish team this year. That's a step down. It just is. DJ Uyunglele has played better than the media giving him credit for. He should have been benched. I stand on that. I know that he's playing better this year, but he still has a limited ceiling, and I'm going to stand by that. I think they should have went to Cade Klubnik. It didn't already cost him a game, and then they put Cade Klubnik in the shadow of his own goalpost at Notre Dame in the middle of the game. That was stupid. But DJ Uyunglele is going to be, what was Logan Thomas. Like, you're going pro, but in something other than quarterback, bro. Like, yeah, go ahead and play tight end. Be like your younger brother, either one, playing tight end or D end, and everything, because you got the physicality for it and everything. Yeah. But like, he's not a quarterback. You know, he's a fine, okay college quarterback, but no, when you're talking about, and again, this is the difference between, you know, even a Taj Boyd, you know,
yeah,
who I would take. Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, clearly. I mean, off the field stuff notwithstanding, talking about on the field. The other stuff is a different conversation. But on the field, yeah. Trevor Lawrence, please. You know, but like, yeah, I don't see it. And if that's what you think, then okay. And it could be like a conversation I was having online with only one sane Oregon fan today. We can disagree, and I'm fine with that. But this one, yeah, I basically said something about Oregon being in it for a 5-star offensive lineman. I said, you know, so are y'all still mad at Cristobal or nah? Which was a little snarky, but to the point was, you know, he elevated the recruiting profile to be able to go after 5-star offensive linemen, which they'd never gotten before he got there, by the way. And one dude was like, oh, yeah, well, you know, the Connerly kid, he actually wasn't going to come here because Cristobal preferred somebody else, and he was recruiting that other player instead of him. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? But there was this recruiting page who was like, he just wanted to be, oh, y'all get bowl eligible. And I was like, that has nothing to do with the question about y'all recruiting 5-star defensive tackles. And I'm not going to get mad or hurt about it because I'm me. So whenever you want to stop the ad hominem attacks, we can do this. And this one dude really came in. He was like, okay, fact. And I was like, I didn't know that or I'd forgotten about that. So thank you for bringing that through. And you're correct. Boom. So, hey, that might be it. But in terms of DJ Uiagalelei, that those facts and everything do not exist. I don't believe so. And hey, that's fine. We can freely and respectfully disagree. But yeah, I think it would be better for all parties if Dabo brought DJ into the office after the season and said, cool, so the transfer portal opens at this time, and we will help you like Kelly Bryant, but before the year, facilitate landing somewhere else because we're going to go forward with Cade Klubnik. Yeah.
Logan Thomas. Yeah, that was a good reference right there. I can go along with that one. You know, he's drawing a paycheck in the NFL. He got 72 balls in 2020. Nothing wrong.
Say, look, you can make a living at tight end, but I mean, you're not going to make money playing quarterback, buddy. Sorry. Clip it. Do it. I mean, hey, that's fine. Clip it.
We are
Charles Johnson. That's my point. Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, and Trevor Lawrence were throwing passes to NFL wide receivers. Clemson's recruiting is such that those guys don't exist on the roster anymore, which talks to the fact of them coming down. And as well, in addition, Charles Johnson, don't even sit here and lie to me and tell me that even absent the NFL wide receivers, you wouldn't take any of those three, Taj Boyd, Deshaun Watson, or Trevor Lawrence, other than DJ Uiagalelei this year, right now on this team. Don't do it. Don't lie to don't lie to yourself and say that you would take DJU other than one of those dudes that you listed on that. Don't lie and say that.
You know, it's one thing when we can have a reasonable debate. You know, you take Peyton Manning, I'll take Tom Brady or something like that. That's a reasonable
back in the day,
debate versus this is not.
Right.
These three guys versus DJ.
But exactly. But he's talking about, okay, the wide receivers on the team. But again, that talks to the state of the program and the overall roster talent and on offense. So fine, sure. But individually, you're taking all of those guys. Anyways, let's get back to Miami. Is Leonard Taylor back for this week's game? He has not been listed or sorry, we don't get an injury report. I don't believe that Cristobal was asked about him. Leonard Taylor missed the second half of the game at Georgia Tech. He was seen on the sideline wearing one of those walking boots. I don't believe. I might have to run a Twitter search, but going back through my brain on the Monday and Wednesday Cristobal availabilities, I don't remember him being asked. And my Twitter always goes so slow when I'm streaming. Yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember him being asked. Oh, okay. No, he is. So he said injury wise, he feels good about Parrish and Taylor. I tweeted about that actually. Hold on. I haven't tweeted, so let me scroll back through here. It was on the Monday presser. There was a number of guys, and he said some were in better places than others. I don't remember Parrish level. I know Jared Harrison Hunt is out. That was hinted at on Monday and then said pretty clearly today. Sorry, give me just 1 second. I gotta get here. Twitter, come on, bro. You're not gone yet. Sorry, I'm almost there. Got it.
You're good.
Jalen Rivers has a chance to return this week. Leonard Taylor and Henry Parrish are closer than others. Don Chaney Jr. is back at full speed. Yeah.
Did you see the clip that was posted? I saw it on Twitter from Mario Cristobal, basically stating that there are some families of players that complain about playing time, and he's old school and would like to have those conversations face to face, and parents are welcome to come and pick up their child or their.
I loved it. Okay, so the full context, he was he did it out in front of God and everybody, so I'm going to call his name. Marcus Rogers is the father of Kamari Rogers, who's a freshman defensive back, number 21. Tore his knee up as a senior in high school, came and enrolled early, is working his way back, is fully healthy and eligible, but has not been playing. So Mr. Rogers, the elder, came on Twitter and started lambasting Jamil Adai and everything, saying, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get yours. You're gonna, whatever. I'm gonna pray for you, but like, nah, like, hey." And so somebody else responding was like, "Bro, like, you're going OD, like, whatever." He's like, "Nah, like, he not going. Whatever he's doing, he needs to not be doing, and don't try me because, like, hey, I carry a big stick, so whatever." I'm like, okay, cool, and going back and forth. So that was the parent specifically who really popped off on Twitter after the Georgia Tech game this week. And I think that was especially prevalent because Miami did start emptying the bench later in the fourth quarter, and his son, even as a freshman, did not play while other youngsters did. I believe that from an outside perspective to be the foundation for why he started to kirk out. And so people were going back and forth with him, and he's saying all the stuff. And so then I forget which journalist, I forget which one it was. It was, I know the voice. I forget which one. One of the local journalists, I think it was David Wilson from the Miami Herald or Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel. I think it was one of those two guys. Might have been David Lake from Inside the U, but it was one of those three guys for sure. Asked Cristobal directly. Said, hey, like on social media, there's been some people that didn't put the Rogers dad's name in there. I did that because he came in there on his good name in front of everybody. Like, my name on social media is Cam Underwood. Underwood Sports, Cam Underwood. That's me. I use my name. My picture is my picture up there and everything. I don't use a pseudonym. I stand on my name. I stand on my word. Whatever I say is how I say it, right? And he did that, so I'll put the name out there. In the question, it was not asked with the name in there, but hinted at, okay, so on social, blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, Cristobal was like, hey, I get people are, think what they think, but, old school, and I would prefer to have any kind of conversation they feel they want to have in person. But, some people are built for it and some people aren't. And, if a parent is displeased with their playing time here at the University of Miami, they're freely able to come pick them up and take them home. And set it straight like that. And I love that. Like, again, there's going to be sacrifice. There's going to be some times where you're not going to play either at all or as much. And, look, either you trust the plan or you don't. And I know you're thinking as a freshman, all right, I'm probably not going to play a lot, but we're up by 4 touchdowns at Georgia Tech, a bad Georgia Tech team. I think it's from Mississippi or whatever. So you probably got a lot of people who drove up for the game and everything. I want to get out there, blah, blah, blah. I'm disappointed I didn't, that I didn't want a full year of sitting to be my red shirt. I was, you could play up to 4 games. So I figured, hey, I'm by my people. This is one of the reasons I came to Miami. Like, come on, man, come on. And you're disappointed that didn't happen. I understand. But like, yeah, if you're going to say that, like, Coral Gables, Florida, 33146. Go find Dickinson Drive or Ponce de Leon or, Santa Amaro or whichever street, around the University of Miami you need to find. Come on down. It's only a 10-minute drive from Miami International Airport. Come straight down Lejeune, baby. Hey, like, do whatever you got to do. But this ain't it. And I thought that was really that. I understand the elder Mr. Rogers' frustration, maybe, but even understanding that was decidedly not the way that I would have handled it. But hey, if that's what he wanted to do and how he wanted to do it, that's a grown man, so he carries that thing on him. All right, cool. I'm not fighting you, fam, but I would have handled it differently. But then when asked about it, Chris Ball said, yeah, so either you in with it, we're going to do the work, we're going to get to where we need to get to, or again, drive down Dixon Drive, Santa Amaro, whichever street, go to the registrar's office, withdraw your son, take him. Transfer portal opens December 5th, guys. Except for grad transfers like Gilbert Frierson, who entered yesterday. But otherwise, yeah, bye. See ya.
I don't understand that approach either. And I know I'm older than a lot of the people that are on social media, but I don't understand that approach either. If I had an issue with Cam, I'm talking to Cam directly. That's a private conversation. I have an issue with Cam. We work it out in private. I don't go on social media and throw it out there for everyone to see. There's
lots of times that's happened, like, yeah, I mean, shoot, not to, go too inside baseball, but yeah, Mark and I have had conversations about real life stuff offline, or I mean, not on the stream and everything, but hey, so it just speaks to how people deal with adversity and everything, and hopefully they're able to go forward. I think that the kid Kamari Rogers is talented. I think that he has a future here, but I don't think that, especially coming off of an ACL that was sustained in the middle of 3 games into his high school season, so we're just over a year away from the injury being sustained. Why rush him back? You put him on the travel party. You didn't even have to take him up to Georgia Tech. You know what I mean? Like, and look, some guys are going to redshirt. Some guys have not cracked that field this year. And they're not going to, and that's okay. But just continue to do the work, trust that process, continue to work, grow, and develop. Because look, I know that you're thinking that there's playing time to be had. And there really is playing time to be had at cornerback next year because, love him or hate him, DJ Ivy's played 95% of snaps at cornerback this year. Tyreek Stevenson, I mean, unless he's injured, he's not leaving the field from corner. But like both them guys gone probably after this year, right? So you're probably, again, not going to play to Corey Couch outside because he's pocket-sized at best. So, I mean, yeah, I know you're probably going to look for somebody in the transfer portal, but you got Darryl Porter from West Virginia who could play more, but he's probably going to grow into one of those starting roles. But anyway, you're probably looking at in dime packages, sub packages, special teams. Like you're looking at a larger impact being there for the taking next year. And I know that we want instant gratification, but buddy, hey, you got to stay and work for it sometimes. And he's a true freshman. He was in high school this time last year. Fam, calm down.
He was a really highly rated. I didn't look him up, but I remember talking about him a lot. He was like a top 10 corner.
Yes, absolutely. And I believe he probably would have played if he wasn't coming off of that injury. And I mean, I hope that they're evaluating his situation individualistically, as in not referencing anybody else. But for me, on the outside, I can't help but make the comparison to them rushing back a clearly injured and incapable Tyler Van Dyke with what they're doing with Kamari Rogers. Saying, okay, we tried, the kid wants to go, and that we're not 100% there with him playing. Not saying that he's not medically cleared, because he wouldn't even be in uniform. He's not medically cleared, but like still, there's a difference between being able to play and actually playing, right? It's like is being in shape and being in any kind of game shape. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can go to the gym and pound that treadmill, but all of a sudden you get out there and you're playing full court basketball. Then, man, I can always, yeah, exactly. That kind of shape is different, bro. So, I can't help but make the comparison of they tried or did rush Tyler Van Dyke back early and should not have, and said, we're not going to make that same kind of mistake with Kamari Rogers, which I think is actually valuing to the player. But again, I'm not saying that I know that they've done that. I'm ascribing that on the outside of the view. And that works for me.
Falcon Rex, thank you for the super chat. Greatest Mario quote ever.
He sat there and
he
said it with a straight face because he means it.
Very matter of fact, just straightforward. Falcon Rex, at least he did not take his ball and go home.
Oh, that's another one because he was talking about Jalen Knighton being able to step into a big role last week with Henry Parrish out and developing from his prior fumble issues and everything. So, yeah, he was about the work and he just didn't take his ball and go home, which is also noteworthy today because reportedly and confirmed by Gabby Rudy of 247 Sports, Thaddeus Franklin walked off the practice field today. And he was in a huff of anger because the correlation, I believe, was Donald Chaney Jr. is back practicing and was in the rotation at running back in front of Thaddeus Franklin. And so he stormed off the practice field. And so while that was Cristobal directly asked or answering a question directly asked about Knighton, you cannot help but make the comparison to the fact of like he came to talk to the media at 11 something after it was reported that Franklin had walked off the field earlier this morning in practice. So, yeah.
Kai Lauren, thank you for being here. As always, his dad was mad that all the other freshmen played.
Well, yeah, but again, you're going to have also non-freshmen because, again, when Daryl Porter plays with that second/third unit, he's not a freshman, but he's in front of Rogers. You got – it wasn't all the other freshmen, first of all, because I can go to the participation report. So, like, I hear you. I'm not fighting with you about it. I'm just saying it was not all of the freshmen. It was a lot of freshmen who did play, but there were guys in front of him who played. It be like that sometimes. I get it. It do. Sorry. And if I have to balance giving Daryl Porter Jr. 12 snaps versus 9 snaps and then 3 for Kamari Rogers this year right now, I'm sorry, I'm giving all 12 to Daryl Porter because we have him penciled in as a starter at cornerback next year, so he needs to get the reps that he can get. Look, it is what it is. Do you want to talk about Keyshawn Washington not getting on the field? You want to talk about Brian Balaam not getting on the field? We can talk about a lot of other players having not gotten on the field. Their parents have not, and those guys are older than Rogers. You know what I mean? Like, I know, and I understand it is frustrating, but it is a singular game along the path of a college career that more than likely is going to span at least 4 years, 46 games or more if you come back for a 5th year. Buddy. Again, the travel roster doesn't take everybody. Didn't even have to do that. Tried to get you in, but other guys were in front of you on the rotation. That happens. But if you are that hot and cold, 100 or 0, about 2 snaps, because like realistically, you're talking about what was, I'm going to go back to the statistics. This is why I leave this open. Good job, Cameron. If you go back to the last drive of the game for Georgia Tech, after the pick 6 was 13 plays and 71 yards. You're not playing all 13 of those plays. If you play a third of those, you're talking about 4, maybe 5. You're really getting twisted and Twitter-pated about 4 or 5 snaps in a game your true freshman year to the point where you want to, like, call the DB's coach everything but a child of God and, insinuate that you want to go fight that man over 4 to 5 plays at Georgia Tech your freshman year when you could be in line for a 2-deep rotation spot next year at cornerback and thereafter for a guy who, and even Mark said, he's like, oh, that was a highly rated recruit. I remember we talked about him last year. He was like a top 10 cornerback in the country, right? That guy. So you have the ability and everything, but you're just not seeing the field right now. but your playing time could be a math nerd. It could be an increasing a graph that increases at an increasing rate. So a little bit, a lot, and it just goes up like that. But you want to get twisted over this and come on social and for all that for right now? Really, bro? I didn't know that this year's Georgia Tech game had that much gravitas towards anybody's career path, absent, a Zach Pyron, who unfortunately broke his collarbone. He's out for the year in that game. You know what I mean? Like, that's a very impactful game for him and everything. But, like, for a random DB on Miami's roster, bro? Really?
Talking Rex, sizing it up this way. Mario and Cam say it as they see it. Deal with it.
Thanks.
We are, this being, of course, a Wednesday show and National Signing Day always on a Wednesday. I believe we are 4 Wednesdays away from that glorious day in which about 85% of the nation signs. How are you feeling about the class? Is there any recent rumblings?
I mean, there's always chatter on the recruiting trail. Florida did get Jaden Rashada to flip. There was a guy who was probably going to go there. They had a kind of falling out and everything right before his commitment was scheduled, and then he picked Miami and then, flipped there later. I mean, good get from them. All-American, signal passer, Miami, signal caller, I should say. Miami still has Emory Williams at that position, so I think we should be good. And especially, fulfilling the number one recruiting rule of getting a quarterback in every single class. There's always stuff going on. There were a couple secret visits that got out, guys to Miami recently. I think that, of the Miami guys, a lot of the committed players have pledged their intent to remain in this class and everything, including Malik Bryant, who was one that Florida people were saying they were like minutes away from flipping. So we'll see about that. But yeah, I mean, I think we should feel pretty good about where things are. I think most of these guys are going to sign. I think the vast majority, I haven't looked at all the numbers, but I think of the 19 guys who got committed, I think 14 or 15 are slated to enroll early in January. So getting the additions to the roster in an immediate time frame is really great. Miami's still looking to close with a couple of different guys. He's still kicking the tires on Mark Fletcher, who visited Florida, and he's open to other visits, so maybe bring him in. He's currently committed to Ohio State. He's still continued to recruit his teammate, both on the 7-on-7 and high school levels, Brandon Ennis from Ohio State. You look at a bunch of different guys and everything. So Samson Okunlola is probably the guy most noteworthy, a 5-star offensive tackle from Massachusetts, because you really want to bookend him and Mawagoa together in this class. That would be spectacular, but, we'll see. Miami, I think, is in a good place, but definitely not anything for sure done. But, I know that there's room for growth in terms of on-field coaching and game day decisions and, obviously maybe updating, or if the offensive line looks like this or better, or look like they did against Georgia Tech or better, that now changes everything on offense. But yeah, there's things to be left to be desired with Cristobal as coach, and especially right now, like, you're growing. You know what I mean? Like, this is a team and a program that, like, you are rebuilding, so you have to kind of let the builder do the build. But while there are things to be desired, one thing you cannot impugn is Cristobal's ability to recruit. So I'm really excited to see how this finishes. And when the transfer portal opens, I know that Miami is going to be very, very active. I know that there are going to be players leaving Miami, and I know that we're going to be in the market for plenty of players. Probably at the top of the list is going to be a number 1 wide receiver, because Miami whiffed on every single number 1 receiver option that was out there last year. Ended up bringing in Frank Ladson. Late got Colby Young as a JUCO transfer, but all of the top end guys at wide receiver all elected to go elsewhere, and that hurts, and that can be seen on the field on Saturdays. But it'll be interesting to see also how many guys leave the roster of their own volition. As I alluded to earlier, Gilbert Frierson announced yesterday that he's his intent to transfer as a graduate of the University of Miami. So, and then he actually tweeted again today and said he checked with compliance and with the NCAA. And since he's a graduate transfer, he is not bound by the December 5th time frame to enter the portal. He can enter it immediately to seek his next opportunity. I really wish that kid the best, man. Again, I never have. There's been like 2 players, and only because I knew them from high school, who I might have had a negative personal opinion about. And otherwise, I wish them all well. Gilbert always has a huge smile on his face from every time I've interacted with him. Anybody's interacted with him. He's just a great kid, man. Super duper, just charismatic. Went to Coral Gables High School right down the street. You know what I mean? Like, flourished in the defense with Diaz and Pat Key playing the striker position, but Kevin Steele comes down and, you change the paradigm and you don't have that position anymore. And he's not a safety and he's not a linebacker. So you're not going to play at linebacker. You're not going to play at safety. So, I was sad to see his playing time diminish, but I understand why. But I'm really, just really supportive of that kid, man. I mean, he's just, from everything that I've seen, heard, and even spoken with the kid, just a great kid. And, just wish him absolutely the best and hope that he lands on his feet and finds somewhere where he can really go play and make an impact, because I think that you can do that in the right and proper scheme. But not just Frierson. There's going to be a lot of guys who leave this roster. I mean, I think it's going to be, of the non-seniors, I could easily see 20 to 25. Easily. So you're going to have to replace them. So in the world of recruiting and also transfer portaling, there's going to be a major, this team is going to be, it's almost going to be like an away team where we're all going to have to study the roster and be like, okay, who's on the team now? Because like the names that we've seen for years, not here anymore.
It has all the ingredients. You've got a first-year head coach who wants to, survey the room, bring in his players, bring in the kind of players that he wants from other programs. It's obviously a new era with the transfer portal. So every team in the nation has a semblance of a portion of the roster that is new. Plus, you've got a high expectant program that is a high brand name, but is not performing anywhere close to that level. And then on top of that, you've got recruiting classes coming in that are extremely high, that are going to supplant guys that should be seeking shelter elsewhere. A lot of ingredients there that point to exactly that.
And the last one is the uncapped recruiting year this year and next year, where you can bring in as many players as you want up to your 85 scholarship limit. So it's not just, okay, I can take as many up to my 25 in new income encounters. No. I can take as many as I want or need to fill my roster. So you add that on top of the other things that you brought to the table, Mark. Yeah, it's a recipe for a lot of turnover on this roster.
Troy Furr, we appreciate you being here. Thank you for the contribution. Does it make sense for Tyler Van Dyke to turn pro or transfer?
I think that he needs to transfer. I think that would be the best move. In my perfect world. This has changed a little bit because the numbers have changed because Jaden Rashada is no longer committed to Miami. But in my created mental universe that I was talking about with a couple of my Miami fan friends and a couple other journalists and things like that, bloggers, because I'm not a full-time journalist, I'm a blogger, but whatever. The scenario in my head that is best for everybody is Tyler Van Dyke transfers to SMU, reunites with Rhett Lashley, their quarterback's graduating. He'll do numbers there. He'll get drafted from there next year. Win. So I think that is a win for the player because he goes back with a coach that he excelled with. And he's clearly a starter at the Power 5 level and a darn good one. You put him at the G5 level, he's going to do video game numbers and he's going to get his draft stock up. That's going to continue to help Rhett Lashley because they're going to put up numbers on offense and just, everything keeps rolling. Boom, done. So that helps them. I think that helps Miami because the kind of offense that we want to run is not necessarily the one that best suits Tyler Van Dyke. So it's a little bit of addition by subtraction in terms of fitting the scheme to the point earlier that Jakari is a better fit for the Gaddis offense. I don't agree 100%, but like I think that what Gaddis wants to runs better with somebody who's other than Tyler Van Dyke. You follow that up with, at the time, my idea was Jake Garcia versus Jakari Brown versus Jaden Rashada versus Emory Williams. Whoever wins that battle wins. Now, obviously, you take Jaden Rashada off of there, and it's Jakari, Emory, and hopefully Jake, unless Jake transfers, which is not what he wants to do, not what his parents want him to do, because they moved from California to Georgia, Georgia down here to Coral Gables, and then you just kind of go from there. I still think Tyler going somewhere else, and again, I think the SMU is just a perfect fit because he gets to reunite with Lashley, go make, literally and figuratively, go make that money, is a great move for him and sets him again in a place where he's going to be seen. And like, if you're good, the NFL will find you anywhere. So you're a known name already from being at Miami, playing in all these places. You're going to be at SMU playing their entire schedule, which, I mean, is not the hardest, but it's not like you're on, the dark side of the moon or anything when you're playing at SMU. And then Miami grows the offense in a different way. If you get that happening where Tyler does leave, then I think you probably need somebody at the position in the transfer portal just to cover you if Jake Garcia decides that he wants to leave. Also, I made the illusion, I think last week, just need a Jake Heaps, just an older guy, in the room, the adult, maybe he's been in college 3, 4, 5 years. Jake Heaps was 25 when he came over because he'd done a Mormon mission, after having been the number 1 overall quarterback recruit, 7 years before he got here or whatever. Like, that's fine. But yeah, you're going to need somebody. But so that's what my headcanon created has been, right? That specific movement and everything. In specific, so not my created story in my head, but just looking at it, Tyler Van Dyke needs to stay in college another year, and I'm not sure that Miami is the best place for him to be successful. So you put those two things together, and I think transferring is the move elsewhere for him, and he'll have a number of suitors. I can guarantee you that SMU is already one of them, just from the connection with Rhett Lashley. It'll be interesting to see who else maybe tries to get involved with Tyler Van Dyke moving forward. I just don't think that he's ready for the NFL. And if he had been healthy and performing, because he had a game at 496 and a game at 370 or 4. I mean, he had the better part of 1,000 yards over 2 weeks passing. So the kid can sling it, but you're talking about 6 games last year and 2 games this year of that level of performance. For whatever reason, he didn't start last year. Don't care. Okay, this year, at the beginning of the year, we were just trying to run the ball. Don't care. When you're looking at it, you got 8 games of really high level performance. The NFL has been burned on guys like that before, and I don't think that he would get the draft result that he would be looking for. So I think that another mango season, another year starting completely for somebody's team is great. I just think that it would probably be best for all parties if that somebody's team was a team other than the Miami Hurricanes.
Cam Underwood, State of the U. Get on over there to State of the U on SB Nation. You see it on the banner right there to get yourself prepped and primed for the Clemson game and everything that involves Miami football and athletics. Anything to highlight in particular, Cam?
Yeah, man. So we got basketball coverage going on. So, some really great stuff this week in Canes basketball, and then, game recaps going up. There goes another. It's a different dam. Okay, cool. We got that. I'm working on my answers for a question and answer with Ryan Cantor from the Shaking the Southland, the SB Nation Clemson site. So we're going to have the home and home question and answers up for you. I believe both sites are going to post them tomorrow. So a little bit of, my answers to some questions from Ryan, and then Turnabout being fair play. He'll give me some of his as well. Got film reviews, got all kinds of stuff. I have already started the outlining of the recruiting notebooks for signing day because I am not leaving that till the end this year. I already said that and everything. So you guys hold me accountable to that, but I am not waiting until, after Thanksgiving week, to really get started. Like, we're going to get started on that, start outlining some of those. And I know Thanksgiving week is next week, but I mean, like, the Wednesday after Thanksgiving is when I start those or something. No. Like, we're going to get some of those done every single day. So be there. And I always take the day off and everything to spend it with you guys all the way on every signing day and whatnot. So we're going to be there through that and so much more. So Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The State of the U. My personal Twitter account is at Underwood Sports. So you can see that conversation or that tweet about Oregon fans. And there have been so many Oregon fans with less than 400 followers who are in my mentions about that one thing. So, if people like that are taking dissent to what I said, that kind of just shows and proves that I was right. So yeah, always there, always authentically me. So come on over and interact with us. Shout out to my boy Gerald. I know he said that he was watching. Nobody came up to me on last tailgate like a couple people have this season, but we're always out here. Glad to create content with you guys, spend time with you guys, and hopefully what we bring to you is valuable to you as well. We look forward to seeing you guys, and please come on over to State of the U and fan with us. And that's it for me, and we'll see you next week.
Folks, consider that you enjoy the content and the conversation with Cam each and every week, so others will as well. So bring some folks with you next Wednesday, 7 o'clock Eastern time, or whatever time we determine would be the best time each and every week. That's why you subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications. We will see you all next time. Thanks, Cam.
No problem. See you.